Hi, guys. I'm here to tell you a little bit about my new community, North Jackson, which is compiled of four different towns in Jackson County. The closest town being Holton, which is the biggest populated town. And I want to let you know that this was particularly hard for me because I haven't been there yet. So it was also really good for me to build connections with new people and learn about the new community that I will be working for. Customs and traditions are something that are held at a high standard in Jackson Heights. They have a lot of town pride, so those four towns have a lot of school pride for Jackson Heights. Their sports are huge. They have a cannon shot after each touchdown. They have the Aggie Olympics, which is the kids versus the teachers in lots of games. They have lots of parents that are involved with their school. They have big turnouts for school functions. They have a play day at the elementary school and also a family literacy night. And then one of the bigger deals that they have is a fall pep rally in August when school starts. And then Jackson Heights, many of you probably don't know the history, but it was an old Alice missile base. So they have tunnels underneath the school. They turned that missile base into a school, which is really interesting. And they used to have athletes run down the halls for conditioning underneath in the basement tunnels. They don't do that anymore. It's closed off because of health reasons, mold, and things of that nature. But it has been a huge tradition for Jackson Heights in the past. The population. So there's about 3,200 people in Jackson County. The poverty rate is 17%. The median age is about 43. The median household income is 43,000. And later on, we'll kind of talk about salary incomes for males and females. We are not very diverse. We are 90% white, and then the 10% is made up of Hispanic and American Indian. There is a Indian reservation in Mayetta, which is about 10 or 15 minutes away. So some of those kids travel to Jackson Heights to get their school education. Communication channel. So since we are 100% English speaking school, it's easier to communicate with parents compared to when I was at Emporia High School, where we were about half Hispanic and had a high percentage of English language learners. So I would anticipate that this might be a little bit easier to communicate with some parents. They use their school website. As you can see, I've added a snapshot. They put their most important information on the main page, such as graduation coming up. They have a newsletter that they send out to the four towns along with a newspaper for the Jackson County. They also use Twitter and Facebook and social media and emails to all their parents if they have a large or an important message they need to send out. And then they also use local channels for school closures and things of that nature. Community groups. So since I'm not in the community yet, I kind of had to use my internet resources to see what they have. They have a Cub Scout group, which I'm sure is one among many of small community groups that are in Holton and Jackson Heights and in Jackson County. They have a large new hospital that they're adding a new addition to, and I know that they hold different types of meetings there and teach people about health and things of that nature. They have a great recreation center. They provide sports for children and adults in different kinds of leagues. And then their library also has a lot of different activities for young children that they can get involved in. And then another thing that I read about that I think is really interesting is called Thrive in Jackson County. And that's where they take a low-income person and they match them with somebody that can help them learn how to manage their money better or find a job, someone that kind of can mentor them. So I think that's a pretty cool community group and something that I want to learn more about. After talking to my superintendent, I saw that the main leadership for Jackson Heights, which is our school, is a superintendent. She travels to all four towns and tries to build relationships and connections with as many of the parents and community members as she can. The school board also has a lot of leadership in our school. And then in those towns, there's a city council and a mayor for each of the four. And then another thing that she mentioned was that ministers have a lot of the leadership, and they're good role models for these kids and someone that they look up to if they need help or help trying to solve a problem. The characteristics of a community leader would be working with the public in general and building those connections, handling the funds, communicating often with the people that are in their area, and communicating with others to try to improve their area. They also have to have conflict resolution. Somebody's always going to be complaining about something, and they have to be able to handle that gracefully. And they're also a role model. I think anyone in a powerful position is a role model for others if they're doing it in a positive way. Economic conditions in Holton, Jackson County, and Jackson Heights. The main three top occupations are retail trade, food service, and healthcare. I'm not surprised. Holton has a hospital with a new addition, and it is the only hospital in Jackson County, so it's something that employs a lot of people. Also, ranching and farming, there's a lot of landowners. That's something that's big in this area. The average male salary is $60,000, female salary is $43,000, and then demographically, the largest percentage living in poverty is males 18 to 24. And then you can also read our property value and property taxes on this page. I found that we revenue $9.8 million and the expenses are $9.2 million. Social tensions. I spoke with my superintendent because I haven't worked in the school yet and wanted to know what to expect and what kind of tensions there were coming into it. And gender preference, LGBTQ, she had spoke about how it's a more taboo in these small towns. So a lot of the kids wait until after high school to come out in their sexuality. So I think that's something that can kind of be tense in that school. And then also, she said she's had a few instances where the Native American population doesn't feel like they're being treated fairly. So those are a couple things that come into factor at Jackson Heights. And then multicultural issues is that this school needs to be more diverse. They need to learn about new cultures and traditions and really broaden their information, and they need more opportunities. Power structure would be good community relations. They need to have a response action steps in place and then a protocol for as many situations as they can. The public opinion of Jackson Heights would be very prideful. A lot of people really take pride in this school and this community. I've often heard before I even took this job, I was kind of asking around that they use good learning strategies and they have good teachers. A lot of times people want to be at that bigger school, and I've heard some leaving those bigger schools to come to Jackson Heights because of the smaller class sizes and the connections that they can build. And then something that they need to work on, they seem like they have a lot of functions that bring in people, but I think it's mainly surrounded of sports. So I think it'd be interesting to try to find a way to get more people involved that has more to do with learning and education. And then opinion surveys, we do a lot of different ways: online surveys, site council, CTE, advisory council, paper and pencil form, the old-fashioned way, and phone calls. So one of the latest online surveys and opinion surveys that they had done, which is probably like many of you, would be continuous learning, a new graduation date, and then the assessment of students who need meals.